let's talk about the Master Cheesemaker program a little bit. So the state of Wisconsin, and I was in the second graduating class, I believe. The state of Wisconsin started a Master Cheesemaker program to give more credibility to the cheesemakers that we already have. You have to be a licensed cheesemaker in Wisconsin, and we're the only state that requires a licensed cheesemaker to be in the plant all the time. I think we're the only state that requires a cheesemaker to be licensed all the time while you're manufacturing cheese, from the processing of the milk at the beginning to the finished product at the end. And you have to be a licensed cheesemaker for 10 years. What that does is that pretty much guarantees that as a cheesemaker, you worked milk intake, you worked the brine room, you worked sanitation, you can run the vats, you know enough through training by your former cheesemakers that you can make an adjustment on the fly while making the cheese that's going to keep the same quality and standards that you expect on a daily basis. So once you're at that point of tenure, you can join the program or apply to get in the program, and you can only apply for 2 cheeses at a time. And again, that's sponsored by the Dairy Farmers of Wisconsin and the Wisconsin Cheesemakers Association and the Center for Dairy Research. Once you're applied into it, there is a exam given to you by a master cheesemaker and the head of the organization. And what they're doing, they're just asking you questions. It's a one-on-one to see if you really know what you're talking about. They want to make sure that, you know, it's just not all push button, that you still have the artisan factor in the job of making cheese. And I've sat on that board a couple times, and as the cheesemaker, our job, because a lot of these guys, and like myself, I didn't go to college, only went to college for my master's cheesemaking school and the classes I took to become a licensed cheesemaker. The layman's term is different than the collegiate terms. So we bring it down to layman's terms for the cheesemakers, and they understand a lot better, and it kind of relaxes them a little bit. When that's done, then we do a plant audit to make sure that, you know, the plant's got good hygiene practices. It's got good SOPs. We want to make sure that the product that's going to come out, again, is going to represent Wisconsin and not have any issues. And then we go back to the schooling. You have 3 years to complete the schooling. You can start the schooling much earlier before you start the program, because they don't want you to have to leave your job to go to class all the time. And you know, you have to take the basic cheese making course sponsored by University of Wisconsin-Madison. There's cheese grading course, milk quality class. There's a marketing class to help you market your products. Then there's some artisan classes like cheeses of Switzerland or cheeses of Spain or cheeses of France or the Netherlands. You can take all these up, and you have to take the 5 required, and I'm thinking now, sorry, but I think it's 5 elective. Not quite sure on that. Over a 3-year period, again, starting sooner if you have to. And then during that process, also every year, they test your cheese to make sure that it meets the analytical requirements that you have told in your request to be a member or be a master cheesemaker, and that it stays within the requirements. And then, of course, that it's got, you know, no microorganisms or anything else in it. They want to make sure that it's going to represent Wisconsin, again, well, and you well as a master cheesemaker when it goes out to the public. And then finally, at the end of all this 3 years of grueling work, there is a take-home exam, and they send it to you, and they give you 30 days to complete it. And it's 40 to 60 hours of paperwork, tracing back, following through, making sure that everything's there, your recipe, how you take care of the cheese, how you affinage it at the end. And then it goes in front of the board. The exams are reviewed, it goes in front of the board of directors, and then you are given your opportunity to to become a master. The cheese tasting end of it, actually you have to send 4 samples of every cheese, and every year 3 out of those 4 samples have to pass. Otherwise you get a chance to retake them one more time. So yeah, it's pretty grueling. Like I said, I have 12 titles. There were 2 times I only got 1 cheese, so there's a lot of school involved. But you know, it's worth it. I enjoy it. Like I said, if you don't like it, don't do it. And I just like the opportunity.